The silver lights of Gaia Station shimmered in orbit above Earth, a quiet symbol of hope and tension. The station was the heart of humanity's presence in the Galactic Council, a sprawling structure of polished steel and translucent domes that housed embassies, delegates, and technology shared by dozens of species. It was both a symbol of unity and a cage of diplomacy. Commander Aiden Vale stood by the wide window in his office, watching Earth slowly rotate below. Blue oceans, green continents, and swirling clouds. Home. But from up here it felt distant, like a memory fading with every passing year. He was tall, with streaks of gray beginning to show in his dark hair. His uniform was crisp, the black and blue of Earth's delegation. But the look in his eyes told a deeper story. He had served in the Earth Defense Fleet for 2 decades. He had seen war, peace, and the uneasy space in between. Now, as humanity's ambassador to the Galactic Council, he faced a different kind of battle, one fought with words, pressure, and silence. His assistant, Lena, entered the room quietly. "Council meeting begins in 10 minutes, sir." Aiden nodded. "Let's go." They walked through clean halls lit by soft white lights. The other delegates passed them with little more than polite nods. Some ignored them entirely. The Vortari, with their tall, crystalline bodies and glowing eyes, looked at Aiden as if he were a child playing at politics. The Tyrax slithered past, uninterested. Even the friendly Noroa kept their distance these days. In the Grand Chamber, hundreds of delegates took their places. The room was vast, shaped like a spiral with rising rows of seats, each section marked by species. At the center, High Chancellor Virex sat on a raised platform, his long fingers steepled, his glowing eyes fixed on Aiden the moment he entered. Earth delegation recognized. The Council AI announced in a neutral tone. Aiden stepped forward. He tapped his wrist pad, bringing up holographic images, graphs, projections, and reports from Earth and its colonies. "Council members," he began, his voice steady, "humanity has submitted 15 proposals in the last year. Not one has passed. Our trade routes have been rerouted without notice. Our mining rights on Titan revoked. We have been told these are routine adjustments. They are not. They are punishments." Virex tilted his head slightly. "Ambassador Vale, these are administrative decisions made for the greater good of galactic balance." Aiden didn't flinch. The greater good seems to always come at Earth's expense. Murmurs filled the chamber. Another delegate, a four-eyed Varnakian, spoke up. "Humanity was granted council membership barely a century ago. That is a blink in galactic time. You must earn respect, not demand it." Aiden stepped closer to the center. "We fought in the Kernak Wars. We provided tech and lives in defense of council worlds. We kept our word, but we are still treated as tools, not equals." Virex rose slowly. "You speak boldly, Commander, but your tone suggests you forget your place. Earth is still learning its role in this galaxy." Aiden's jaw tightened. "Then perhaps it's time we choose our own path." Silence fell over the chamber. Virex's eyes narrowed. "Is that a threat, Ambassador?" "No, I didn't be blaive, Gamli. It's a warning. Earth will not be ignored forever." The meeting ended with no resolution. Aiden returned to his office, exhausted but clear-headed. Lena followed him in, her face pale. "You know you're pushing them," she said. "Hard." "I know," Aiden said. He sat down slowly. "But they need to be pushed, or we'll be crushed." A message appeared on his screen. It was encrypted, no signature, no origin. Just a few lines of text. "Deep space activity detected. Origin unknown. Coordinates attached. Eyes open, Commander." He frowned. The coordinates pointed far beyond the edge of known council space. "A distraction?" Lena asked. "Or something bigger?" Aiden murmured. He looked again at Earth through the window. Something had shifted today, not just in the chamber, but in his mind. For the first time, he truly questioned whether being part of the Galactic Council was helping humanity or holding it back. Earth was restless. News of the failed council meeting spread quickly. Within hours, media outlets across Earth and its colonies replayed clips of Aiden Vale standing tall in the center of the Galactic Chamber, challenging the words of High Chancellor Virex. To some, he was a hero, finally speaking the truth. To others, he was reckless, risking humanity's fragile place in the galaxy. On Mars, thousands gathered outside the Terraform Authority building, holding signs that read, "No more chains and we are not lesser." On Titan, miners shut down operations in protest after their council-approved trade deals were canceled. Even on Earth, old divisions between nations quieted as people focused on one question: should humanity stay or go? Inside Gaia Station, Aiden stood before a private council of Earth's top leaders, projected by hologram. The room was quiet, but the tension was thick. "You've stirred up a storm," said Chancellor Riva from Earth, her face calm but stern. "The people are divided. The colonies are furious. The council is angry. And we are on the edge." Aiden nodded. "I didn't start the storm. I just stopped pretending it wasn't there." General Havex, head of Earth's defense, spoke next. "You're proposing we leave the council? That's not a decision we can undo." "It might be the only path left," Aiden said. "We're not equal partners. We're pawns. If we leave, we can build our own future." "And stand alone?" Riva asked. "We're powerful, but not that powerful." Aiden tapped his wristpad. The encrypted message he received yesterday appeared in the air. The mysterious coordinates deep in uncharted space. "This came to me after the council session. No source, but the encryption matches old fleet codes. Someone is warning us. Something is happening out there, and the council is ignoring it." "Or hiding it," said Havex grimly. Riva leaned back in her seat. "So what's your plan, Commander?" Aiden's voice was steady. "Give me full authority to act as Earth's representative. Let me prepare our withdrawal, properly and publicly. If we leave, it will be on our terms, not theirs." The leaders were silent for a long time. Finally, one by one, they gave their nods of approval. "Do it," Rivas said, "but be ready. If the council turns hostile, we need to be prepared." 2 days later, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with unease. Every delegate had received the official notice. Earth's representative had requested a special session to address an urgent matter of sovereignty. Delegates murmured to one another. The Vortari sat still, emotionless, but their crystal eyes glowed a little brighter. Aiden walked to the center of the chamber alone. He carried no notes, no devices, just his voice. "Council members," he began, "today I stand not to ask but to declare. The people of Earth and its colonies no longer accept our place as second-class members in this body. We have served. We have sacrificed. We have obeyed. And in return, we have been disrespected, ignored, and punished." Vyrek stood. "You tread dangerous ground, Commander." "No," Aiden said, his voice clear. "I walk the ground my people built." He raised his chin. "As of this moment, Earth formally withdraws from the Galactic Council. We reclaim our independence. Our fleets, our borders, our destiny." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Delegates rose, shouting in their own languages. Some in shock, others in anger, a few in quiet approval. Virex raised one hand. The room fell silent. "You will regret this," he said coldly. "You walk away from protection, from progress. You invite chaos." Aiden looked him in the eye. "We've lived through chaos before. We survived Earth's darkest centuries. We built starships from dust. We don't fear standing alone." He turned and walked out of the chamber, the Earth delegation behind him. Back on Gaia Station, preparations began immediately. Trade routes shut down. Defense systems activated. Earth's embassies on other worlds sent encrypted messages home. The Council reacted quickly, freezing shared resources, cutting data access, and pulling their envoys from Earth territories. Human ships turned inward, returning from Council missions. Civilian traffic slowed to a crawl. In his office, Aiden stood before a projection of the mysterious coordinates once more. He had made a bold move, but the real danger might still be out there, waiting in the dark. Lena entered quietly. "There's a message from the outer fleet. One of our scout ships picked up something strange, matching the signal pattern from the deep space coordinates." "What do they find?" Aiden asked. "Nothing yet," she said. "Just a pulse. Faint, but it's growing stronger." Aiden nodded slowly. "Then we were right to leave. He turned to the window, watching as Earth's blue glow filled the view once more. Now, he said, we find out what they were hiding. Gaia Station had changed. Once, it was a hub of interstellar diplomacy, its halls filled with voices from across the galaxy. Now, the corridors were quiet. Alien ambassadors had left. Council ships had docked, collected their envoys, and vanished into hyperspace without farewell. The Council flag had been taken down from the central dome. Only Earth's symbol, a blue sphere surrounded by stars, remained. Commander Aiden Vale stood in the operations center, surrounded by Earth's finest officers and technicians. Holographic maps flickered in the air. Red warning markers blinked near former trade routes. Earth was now considered a neutral entity, not enemy, but not ally. A wall had gone up around humanity, not of metal, but of silence. Lena approached with a datapad. Supply chains from the outer colonies are holding for now. Mars, Titan, and Europa have all gone into emergency protocols. We're on our own. Aiden took the pad and scanned the report. We expected this. He looked up at the large screen at the front of the room. A pulse signal repeated every 10 seconds. It came from far beyond the Council's borders, from the edge of mapped space. It was faint, rhythmic, and growing stronger. Any new data on the signal? He asked. Still the same pattern, said Lieutenant Moreau, the station's comms officer. But there's something else. A matching signature has been found in our oldest fleet archives. Buried deep, pre-Council era. Aiden's brow furrowed. From the war days? Moreau nodded. Back when we first launched Deep Space Scouts. Before we joined the Council. Aiden turned to the room. Prepare the Vigilant. We're going out there. The Vigilant was a long-range Explorer-class ship, sleek, fast, and strong enough to face deep space hazards. It had been retired 2 years ago under Council regulations, deemed too militaristic for diplomatic missions. Now it was being restored, refueled, and readied within hours. Aiden personally chose his team. Lena would serve as first officer. Moreau joined as communications lead. He added a few engineers, 2 scientists, and a seasoned pilot named Arden, known for his calm nerves and unmatched instinct in unknown territory. Before departure, Aiden stood before his crew in the ship's central briefing room. We're heading beyond the Council's reach, he said. We'll trace the signal to its source. This may be nothing, or maybe everything. Whatever it is, the Council knew about it and kept it hidden. We need to know why. No one spoke. No one needed to. They were ready. The Vigilant launched at sunrise over Earth, cutting through the darkness with silent purpose. As the planet shrank behind them, so did the certainty of safety. The journey took 5 days at full burn through hyperspace. Each day, the pulse grew louder. It wasn't just a signal now. It had texture, depth, a pattern that hinted at design. On the 6th day, they dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of an empty system, a dying star surrounded by dust, asteroids, and cold silence. Then they saw it. Floating in space, half buried in debris, was a structure. Massive, dark, ancient. It looked like a gate, circular, scarred, with strange markings glowing faintly along its surface. It had no lights, no power, no obvious function. Yet the pulse came from its center. The crew stared in silence. Scans? Aiden asked. Nothing modern, Lena said, eyes wide. No known metals. No data pings. It's not broadcasting in any language we recognize. Miro's fingers flew across his console. Wait, I'm picking up something else. A hidden layer to the signal. Encrypted. Can you crack it? Already trying. Aiden stared at the gate through the viewport. It felt like they had found something the galaxy had tried to forget. Sir, Moreau said, I've got it. It's a message. Audio only. Play it. A woman's voice came through the speakers. Human. Tired. If you're hearing this, we failed. The seal is weakening. We built this to hold it back, not to destroy it. If the Council erased this message, they feared what would happen if others found out. The enemy, it's not dead, just sleeping. The message ended. Silence returned. Aiden felt a chill run down his spine. Get us closer, he said. Scan everything. We need to know what this gate was built for, and why we were never told about it. As the Vigilant moved toward the ancient gate, The pulse grew stronger, deeper, like a heartbeat beneath layers of stone. Aiden stood at the front, his jaw set. Earth had left the council to escape its control. But out here, in the dark, he began to understand the real reason they had been kept small. It wasn't fear of what humanity might do. It was fear of what humanity might find. The Vigilant hovered silently before the ancient structure, its lights casting long shadows across the gate's strange, weathered surface. No one spoke for a moment. The crew stared, unsure whether they were looking at a tomb, a prison, or something else entirely. The gate was massive, easily 3 kilometers wide. Its surface was black and metallic, yet it shimmered faintly with a layer of dust and ice from centuries of drifting in cold space. Strange symbols were carved into it, shapes that seemed to shift slightly if you stared too long. Aiden Vale stood in the observation bay, hands clasped behind his back. Lena, Moreau, and Dr. Ural, the team's senior scientist, stood beside him. "We've scanned the entire structure," Ural said. "The outer shell is sealed. No doors, no airlocks. But there's an energy field inside, something dormant like it's sleeping. This wasn't built as a station. It's containment." "Containing what?" Aiden asked. Ural hesitated. "I don't know." Moreau added, "The pulse signal is artificial, but it's not just a beacon. It's layered, like it's maintaining a rhythm. Almost like a seal." "A seal," Aiden repeated. The word felt heavy in his mouth. "I've seen similar tech," Ural said. "Not in the Council's archives, but in banned records from the pre-Council era. Long before Earth joined, when the galaxy was still divided into factions. Some ancient civilizations believed in sealing dangerous anomalies, entities that couldn't be destroyed, only trapped." Aiden looked through the glass again, and the Council covered it up. Lena crossed her arms. "Why keep this from us? Why erase all trace of it from shared records?" Aiden's voice was quiet. "Because they were afraid. They launched a probe to study the gate up close. As it floated through the dark, it sent back high-resolution images, carvings of creatures, beings with long, twisted limbs and many eyes. Symbols of warning repeated around the edges, written in languages no longer spoken. Then the probe reached the center of the gate. Without warning, the pulse stopped. The crew tensed. The observation screens went black for a second, then flickered to life. A new image appeared. It was a hologram. A woman in an old Earth Fleet uniform stood in a circle of light, her face worn and tired. Her voice played again, but this time it was longer. "This is Commander Elira Mays, United Earth Expeditionary Fleet. Year 2324. If you're hearing this, the seal is breaking. We couldn't stop it, only slow it. The Council decided to hide the truth, said it would cause panic. So they buried our mission, deleted the records, erased the gate. We were told humanity was too young to know. But you need to know now. This gate holds back something we named the Hollow. It is not life. It is hunger. Do not try to open the gate. Do not try to awaken it. Leave this place, or prepare to fight for everything." The hologram faded. Silence followed. The room stayed still for a long moment. "Sir," Moreau said softly, "this is proof." The Council knew. They lied to every species. Aiden didn't speak at first. His thoughts were racing. Elira Mays. That name was in the old records. She had led a deep space mission that was marked as lost with all hands. The truth was far worse. She and her crew hadn't been lost. They had found something they were told to forget. He finally turned to the crew. "Send this message to Earth Command, and prepare a secure burst to every major colony. The people need to know." Lena hesitated. "Won't that risk panic?" "Maybe," Aiden said. "But they deserve the truth. The Council kept us blind. I won't do the same." Later, Aiden sat alone in his quarters, staring at a projection of the gate. Its pulse had returned, slower now, weaker, like it had sensed their presence. He played Elira Mays' message again. Each word etched itself deeper into his mind. The Hollow is not life. It is hunger. What kind of enemy was so dangerous that even the ancient empires of the galaxy chose not to fight it, but to seal it away? What kind of fear led the Council to erase an entire mission and to keep Earth weak and isolated? He now understood the truth. Earth hadn't been kept small because it was weak. It was kept small because it was curious, because it was brave, because it might have found this gate and the truth too soon. But now it was too late to turn back. Aiden stood and looked out at the endless stars beyond the window. Somewhere out there, the council was watching, maybe even waiting, but they wouldn't stop him now. The seal was weakening, and Earth would not face this threat in the dark. The message was sent. Commander Aiden Vale watched from the Vigilance Bridge as the encrypted transmission left the ship. One copy to Earth's command, another to Mars, Titan, and the major colonies, and one more to an open galactic channel. That last one was the most dangerous. It would reach council members, fringe colonies, independent traders, and possibly even pirate networks. But it had to be done. Truth could not stay in the shadows any longer. Back on Earth, the message spread like wildfire. News networks broke their regular programming. People stood in streets, offices, spaceports, and homes, listening to the recovered hologram of Commander Elira Mays. We couldn't stop it, only slow it. The holo is not life. It is hunger. Reactions were swift and loud. Some called it a hoax. Others demanded answers. Scientists, historians, and old Earth Fleet veterans confirmed the mission's authenticity. Panic rippled through the colonies. On Mars, people began stocking supplies. On Europa, the Mining Council suspended all outbound shipments. Even the usually calm citizens of Earth grew uneasy. But something else happened, too. Support. The transmission sparked resistance inside the Council. Small member planets, long tired of Vortari control, began asking questions. Quiet defections followed. A few envoys resigned in protest. One Norroan ambassador publicly thanked Aiden for reminding the galaxy that truth still matters. Aboard the Vigilant, Aiden gathered his crew in the central meeting room. The tension in the room was thick. Faces were pale, serious. The Council hasn't responded directly, Lena said, looking at her datapad. But they've closed several travel routes and flagged Earth ships as security risks. We've also picked up Council patrols near our colonies, Moreau added. Not attacking, but watching. Aiden leaned over the table, hands flat. This isn't just about the holo anymore, he said. It's about the system the Council built. They control knowledge. They've hidden danger. And they kept us weak so we wouldn't ask the wrong questions. And now we did, said Dr. Ural. So what do they do next? Aiden's answer came not with words, but through the ship's alarm. Incoming ship detected. The crew rushed to the bridge. A massive vessel emerged from hyperspace, sleek, dark, and unmistakably Vortari. Its weapons were powered, but not locked. A transmission came through instantly. Commander Aiden Vale, this is High Chancellor Virex. You will power down your ship and surrender all data relating to the structure. His voice was cold, emotionless, a threat wrapped in formality. Aiden replied calmly, You mean the data your council buried for over 300 years? Virex's eyes flickered. Your actions are reckless. You've endangered countless lives by disturbing that seal. You're the one who hid it, Aiden said. You knew about the holo. You knew humanity had already faced it. Virex paused. Yes, we did know. And we agreed, unanimously, to keep that knowledge secret. You were not ready. No species is. Knowledge is power, Vale. And power in the wrong hands, in civilizations. Aiden stared at the screen. You didn't keep it secret for protection. You kept it secret for control. Earth is a child, Virex said. Curious. Emotional. Dangerous. No, Aiden said. We're not children. We're survivors. Virex's voice dropped low. Then survive what comes next. The screen went dark. The Vigilant went to full alert. The Vortari ship did not open fire, but didn't leave either. It hovered like a predator waiting for its prey to fall asleep. Aiden stood in silence for a long moment. Time to make a choice, he finally said. We don't have the fleet to fight them. Not yet. But if we retreat now, they'll bury this again. Lena stepped beside him. Then we don't retreat. Aiden nodded. We go public again. Not just the message. We send the coordinates to every sympathetic ship and colony. We invite them to see the gate with their own eyes. Moreau blinked. You want to bring them here? They need to see the truth. If this becomes just Earth's story, we'll lose. If it becomes everyone's truth, the Council loses. Within days, a small fleet began to arrive. Independent traders, old Council scouts, even a few former enemies. A fractured group, but united by one thing. They all wanted to know what the Council had buried. The Vortari ship remained, watching but did not act. It had been ordered not to fire. Yet, Virix was waiting for the right moment, or the right excuse. Aiden stood on the Vigilance Bridge, watching the small fleet gather. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We've woken something old, and not just out there." He pointed toward the gate, but in here. He tapped his chest. A hunger for the truth. Far below, the pulse of the gate continued. Faint, slow, but steady, waiting. The gate began to glow. At first, the light was faint, soft flickers along the ancient carvings. But within hours, the glow became a steady pulse, like a slow, heavy heartbeat. The hollow was waking. Commander Aiden Vale stood at the Vigilance main viewport, watching the change with silent focus. Around the gate, the ships that had answered Earth's call floated like curious birds circling a storm. They came from all over the galaxy, old freighters, repurposed patrol vessels, forgotten warships. No flux, no orders, just people who believed the truth mattered more than the rules. They had come to see the threat for themselves. Now they would face it. In Gaia Station, back above Earth, Earth's Defense Command received Aiden's updates. The Council had cut all communication, closed jump corridors, and positioned Vortari ships near Earth's outer systems. The message was clear: stop what you started, or face the consequences. But Earth didn't back down. General Havex mobilized every available ship. Civilian freighters were converted into mobile platforms. Retired military cruisers were pulled from museums and rearmed. For the first time in over 100 years, humanity was preparing for full-scale war, not against another species, but against a force from the dark beyond. In deep space, the Vigilant monitored the gate constantly. Then on the fifth day it happened. The pulse became a flare. A shockwave of energy exploded outward. Lights dimmed. Systems flickered. A deep, low sound filled the ship, vibrating through metal and bone. It wasn't noise. It was a feeling, a hunger. From the center of the gate, space twisted. A black void opened, spinning like a storm. Aiden's voice was sharp. Shields up. Battle stations. The other ships followed suit. Some were slow to react. Some turned away, but most stayed. Then the hollow came through. It was not a ship, not a creature. It had no form, only movement, a swirling mass of darkness that devoured light. Wherever it passed, stars dimmed. The temperature dropped. Sound vanished. And behind it came smaller shapes, slim, jagged constructs that moved like shadows with teeth. The Hollow Scouts. They attacked first. The battle began. The Allied fleet opened fire. Energy blasts, missile volleys, electromagnetic pulses, everything they had. Some of the scouts exploded. Others tore through ships like paper. The Vigilant weaved through the chaos, coordinating the fleet. Aiden stood in command, issuing clear, calm orders. Group 3, flank left. Keep them away from the gate. Group 2, focus fire on the larger ones. Don't let them close in. Lena called out, "We've lost 3 ships. 10 more damaged. Shields holding, but barely. They're not fighting to kill us," Moreau said, staring at his screen. "They're trying to protect the gate." Aiden's eyes narrowed, because something else is still inside. At that moment, the Vigilance AI pinged with a new signal from Earth. A message, a code, one buried deep in old Earth fleet databases. Aiden opened the file. It was incomplete, fragmented, but one thing was clear. Human DNA held a key. Alira Maze's mission had done more than seal the gate. Her crew had left behind a code, genetic, ancient, hidden in Earth's own population. It was a failsafe, a lock, and Aiden was a match. "Prepare a boarding pod," he ordered. Lena looked shocked. "You're going into the gate? If we don't stop the hollow now, it'll break free. There won't be a second chance. But we'll lose you." Aiden looked at her. "If it saves Earth, it's worth it." With the fleet holding the scouts back, the Vigilant launched a boarding pod straight into the gate's swirling heart. Aiden sat alone inside, the code running through his neural implant. As the pod entered the structure, time seemed to slow. Light twisted, gravity pulsed. Then everything went still. Aiden stood inside a chamber of light and shadow. In the center, a pulsating mass writhed, part machine, part memory, part hunger. The hollow. It turned toward him, not with eyes, with awareness. It spoke, not in words, but in feelings. Release me. Aiden stepped forward. No. He uploaded the genetic code. The chamber began to collapse. The hollow screamed, not in sound, but in pressure. The gate shuddered. Outside, the fleet watched as the dark void began to close. One by one, the hollow scouts froze and disintegrated. On the Vigilance bridge, Lena gripped the rail. Is he still inside? No one answered. Then, just as the gate sealed, the boarding pod was ejected. Damaged, burning but intact. Aiden was alive. The fleet erupted in cheers. Ships flashed lights in victory. For the first time in days, the stars seemed brighter. The hollow was sealed again, this time with Earth's code. Not the Council's, not anyone else's. Humanity had stopped it, not with force alone, but with sacrifice, courage, and the truth. Aiden lay in the recovery bay, bruised, tired, but smiling. We did it, he whispered. And in the dark between stars, the galaxy stirred. The battle was over. The gate, once a sleeping prison for the hollow, was silent again. Its glow had faded. The pulse was gone. In its place was stillness, as if space itself had exhaled. Ships drifted slowly around the area where the battle had raged just days ago. Some were scarred, patched with emergency welds. Others had lost friends, crewmates, captains. But they remained, not because they had to, but because something had changed. They had fought together, species who had once been strangers or rivals. And, together, they had survived. On board the Vigilant, Aiden Vale sat in the medical bay, bandaged and tired. His body ached, but his mind was clear. Lena stood by the window, watching repair drones glide across the hull. Reports say nearly a third of the fleet was damaged, she said. 10 ships lost. Hundreds of lives, but it could have been far worse. Aiden nodded. We sealed it. And now the whole galaxy knows the truth. Messages had poured in since the gate closed. Some from colony leaders, others from old council worlds. Many thanked them. A few cursed them, but most asked the same thing. What do we do now? On Earth, the mood had shifted. After generations under the shadow of the Galactic Council, humanity stood alone and stood tall. The people mourned the lives lost, but for the first time in decades, there was pride in how they had faced danger not with obedience, but with leadership. Chancellor Riva gave a global address. Commander Aiden Vale and the fleet that stood with him did not just save Earth. They saved countless worlds, not with permission, but with courage. The truth is clear now. Humanity is not a junior species. We are not students of the old ways. We are builders of the new. The message was broadcast across every human colony and many alien networks. It was a declaration, not of war, not of arrogance, but of independence. Real independence. And people listened. Back aboard Gaia Station, Aiden met with a new group of envoys. Not from the Council, but from the independent fleet that had fought with them. Leaders from 6 different species gathered in the once-empty Council chamber, now lit with Earth's banner and those of the others who had broken away. We need a new system, said Captain Thera of the Norari. One built on shared truth, not secrets. A network, not a hierarchy, said Commander Hullen of the Scan. The Council kept us afraid. You reminded us we have a choice. Aiden looked around the table. No one should be forced into silence or obedience. Earth won't lead this new alliance. We'll stand in it, equal to all, strong, but never alone. It was agreed. The Galactic Council would continue, but it was no longer the only voice in the stars. A new alliance was forming, looser, but stronger in principle, founded on trust, on shared danger, and on the hard-earned knowledge that unity meant more than control. Aiden returned to Earth a month later. He stood on a hill above Gaia City, the capital that had grown beside the original launch site of the Vigilant. Children ran below, playing starship games with sticks and paper models. Adults went about their lives, not in fear, but with purpose. He had been offered promotions, awards, even a statue. He declined them all. He had done what needed to be done. That was enough. Lena walked up the path to join him, holding 2 cups of steaming tea. "They're calling this the new dawn," she said, smiling. Aiden took the cup. "It fits. So what's next?" He looked up at the sky. Stars filled the horizon. Somewhere out there, the old powers were still watching. Somewhere deeper, other threats might be waiting. But Earth was ready. "We keep going," he said. "We build something better. Something honest." He turned to her and smiled. "And we make sure no one ever seals the truth away again." In the void beyond known space, the gate floated alone, dormant, for now. And nearby, ships with different colors and flags patrolled, not in fear, but in vigilance. The stars had changed. Humanity had claimed its voice, and the universe would never be the same again.